developments. We are also following a who's who crowd getting ready to go to Davos, but it's not the same crowd, not the political crowd. An economic who's who, maybe, but not necessarily the Western world who's who. Former Maggie Thatcher aide, Nile Gardiner, with us on that. Now, it's interesting because French President Macron, Theresa May of Britain, our own president, Donald Trump, are eschewing going to this event. I don't know who led whom, but what do you make of the fact that it includes the likes of Xi Jinping of China and a host of others who are opting out? What are they saying?
Well, I think it's very significant that at Davos this year you have the leaders of the United States, France, Great Britain, sitting it out. And I think that, Davos is increasingly seen as a sort of, talking shop, really. It isn't a place where, frankly, serious business is conducted, which is why the leaders of the US and the UK in particular are staying at home to deal with more pressing matters. And I think that Davos really, at the end of the day, is an overhyped conference, and it doesn't really often address, real-world issues. And I think that a lot of the sort of attendees at Davos are kind of divorced from reality. You also have at Davos as well, I think, a significant sort of anti-Trump audience there. You also have a significant anti-Brexit crowd as well. And so it could be argued that many of those in attendance really are out of sync with a lot of the big changes that are happening on the world stage right now. So it does make a lot of sense, I think, for Donald Trump to stay here at home in Washington and for Theresa May to stay back in London, where she's working through various scenarios ahead of Britain's exit from the EU on March 29th.
And how is that going for her? I mean, I know she's got a revised plan. I don't know what the details are, but I don't know. And everything else she's cooked up has not been met with overwhelming support. So what do we know?
Yeah, so on January the 29th, Theresa May goes back before the House of Commons to unveil yet another Brexit deal proposal. She's trying to renegotiate her existing deal with the European Union. EU leaders are not very keen to help her out at this stage, and there's a great deal of hostility, I would say, coming from Brussels at the moment, and not a lot of willingness to amend the deal that has already been agreed. I do think the only real option for Theresa May is to press forward with what is known as a managed no-deal exit, whereby Britain exits the European Union under World Trade Organization rules and is free to sign its own free trade agreements across the world, including with the United States. That's a far better course of action than trying to basically push through her existing EU withdrawal deal, which is basically dead in the water unless there are huge dramatic changes in this deal. But I don't think there's going to be changes of real significance. So I very much doubt that Theresa May is going to win a vote in the House of Commons on a sort of reworked deal, actually.
It might be a little bit of Monday morning quarterbacking, but why didn't, after the vote, 52 to 48% in favor of Britain breaking away from Europe, they take their chances and just break away? Because certainly in 2.5 years, they would have sorted a lot of this out, and we wouldn't be in the middle of this drama now. What do you think? Yeah, well, I mean, I think that it would have been ideal, definitely for Britain to break away sooner, but there are all sorts of restrictions in place in terms of European Union treaties and so on. And so it's a very complex scenario. But, the main thing right now, Neil, is just for Britain to be able to get out of the EU, which is a sinking Titanic. And but do you think that's going to happen now, or that drop-dead date in March is going to come and go, and you'll still be part of Europe?
I remain optimistic that Britain is going to leave the EU on March 29th. And if Britain doesn't leave the EU on March 29th, there are all sorts of forces in the UK, in Parliament especially, who are trying to derail Brexit and reverse the Brexit vote altogether. It's vital that Britain seizes this opportunity now to become a truly sovereign, free nation. And March 29th is a hugely important date for the British people, and it's vital that the British government and Parliament respect the will of the British people. They voted to leave the EU. They must respect that, and the British people have the right to be completely free and sovereign.
We'll watch it closely, my friend. Thank you, as always, Nile Gardiner.
My pleasure. Thank you.